Boy, I hope I did this right. It's been a while since I did a solo show. Poof. Look at that fade out. Boom. Oh, that's not bad. All I gotta do is click that, and we're good to go. Hey, what's up, Internet? What's going on, everybody? It's Big Thursday, and you know what that means. Boy, I've been on an esports roller coaster this week. Let me tell you. And I can't tell you. Let me tell you, but I can't tell you. You smell that air? Okay, Internet, here's the drill. So, I got fired before the show started? Oh, I thought you meant really, from your job. Jeez, that would have sucked. Anyway, Internet, Rip is busy. He's on an esports mission. I was supposed to be on an esports mission that I can't talk about because of esports rules. But let's just say I'm not esports enough. But the show must go on. Ricksta said he was going to be late, and I was like, you know what? We run a fucking tight whatever it's called around here. Tight bunghole. So if you're late, and you're out. Anyway, yeah, that would have really sucked. So the co-hosts of the show today are going to be the chat room. You guys are going to guide me through this, and we'll be all right. There's a bunch of stuff to talk about. And it's been a while since a solo show. I feel like I could really get a lot off my chest, you know? So, let's go through the games. What do I usually do? I say hi, it's Thursday, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I introduced those two clowns, which aren't even here today, which is actually kind of nice. You know, let's consider it, a blessing in disguise. Because, Lord, especially the short one and the low-tier Indian, I don't know. Anyway, so lots of stuff to talk about. The biggest news that hit the scene, which is really, really alarming news, is that NLBC, which is Next Level Battle Circuit, which happens to be, in case you don't know, a weekly tournament and / online event that's held every Wednesday evening out of New York City, out of the Next Level Arcade. And it's ran by Spooky, who streams under twitch.tv/Team Spooky with zeros. Basically, it's the equivalent of what we had in SoCal, which was Wednesday Night Fights, and basically it's been around since the beginning of time, as far as I'm concerned, since the beginning of streaming, we've always had that East Coast, weekly show that we could always watch, and I've always enjoyed it, and apparently the newest developments are that Henry Sen and the other guy that owns Next Level, They're two Taiwanese guys, and I guess they had some kind of quarrel. Whatever the issue is, they got in a fight, and they don't agree on something, and they basically don't want to work together anymore. And so far, from what I've heard, they're considering closing the place. Now, I know I read on the Twitter. I don't usually check out the Twitter too often, but I'm interested in this topic. I read that Henry Sen said the place isn't closing right away. Like, he needs to figure out what's up with the lease. They need to figure out exactly what's going on. So chances are that NLBC is probably not going to be going away, like, right away. It's not going to be, like, an abrupt end from what it seems. So I don't know what else to say about that. It's one of those things where you don't really realize what you have until it's gone. And we said this a lot when Super Arcade closed. It was a fucking tragedy over here. And we thought, it's going to come back soon. They're just going to relocate, right? It's been over a year since Super Arcade has gone. Clearly, we've felt the damage that's done in terms of the skill level of this region, in terms of a lot of other things. The entire scene was really, held up by these two weekly events, which were Wednesday Night Fights and NLBC. And, it's just one of those things where the only thought that I could have about it is you really don't appreciate these things until they're gone, So I don't even really know how you can help, because even Spooky was saying this is not about money, this is not about a donation drive, this is not about a Kickstarter. It's just the way it is. They got in a fight and they don't want to run this business anymore. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but I also know that the vibe I'm getting from Spooky is that he keeps saying I want to wake up and make this feels like it's a dream. Like, I want to wake up from this nightmare, right? And I'm thinking, man, that sounds really shitty. But on the other hand, the positive side is that it doesn't sound like definitive, right? It doesn't sound like game over. It just sounds like shit's going bad, but we're keeping our fingers crossed. So, I mean, what else can you do? What else can you do than watch NLBC, obviously, next Wednesday, and keep your fingers crossed, right? I mean, hopefully, whatever problem they have, they can put down their differences and quit sucking each other's dicks and, get their acts together, because it's really an important thing, especially for the fighting game scene. It's not really that important in the grand scheme of the universe, right? Everyone will move on. Spooky will move on, and it's not that big of a deal. But in the end, it's kind of important, if you ask me, to the fighting game scene. So all I can say is I'm wishing them luck, right? Whatever happens. Things happen for a reason. So hopefully everyone moves on and does something good. I don't know what else to say. It kind of sucks. It's shitty news, but really the first thing that comes to mind is you don't appreciate this shit until it's like threatened, right? And then you're like, fuck, that's my favorite lamp, You never turned it on once. I don't know. NLBC, we'll see what happens. That's basically the latest from what I know. I'm not really on the cutting edge of like Facebook gossip and shit, so I'm not usually Rip is the guy. That's the thing. This podcast has this like well-oiled dynamic, and Rip is usually Rip and Ricksta both are. They got their fingers in the Facebook and the Reddit Kappa and all that bullshit, so I'm not really on the cutting edge. But, okay, so yeah, NLBC, that's shitty, but other things are not shitty, right? We could talk about other shit. Yeah. I'm going to have to take water breaks. That's what happens when you do a solo podcast. So, what else? We can go through the games. I'm down with that. That's usually the format that this show goes in. So, let's talk about some Mortal Kombat. Okay, I know what's the cutting edge of Mortal Kombat. That guy, Ed Boon, he keeps fucking teasing all these Combat Pack 2 related tweets, right? Combat Pack 2. We haven't seen an update for Mortal Kombat since EVO, right? The question is it going to be Combat Pack 2 or is it going to be a new version of Mortal Kombat? The only reason I say this is because I saw a Twitter with Ed Boon saying something about that shit. Now, he's a giant troll when it comes to Twitter, right? But it's possible that instead of doing Combat Pack 2, they're going to do Mortal Kombat Ultimate or something, right? And if they do Ultimate Mortal Kombat X, they could release it with all these new characters, right? Instead of doing a Combat Pack 2, they can charge for it again, but most importantly, they can do something about the console version that they fucked up on last gen. That's the only thing that makes me think that they are doing something like that, right? Other than Ed Boon kind of teasing towards it, right? Imagine if for PS3 and Xbox 360, as well as the new consoles, they release Mortal Kombat Ultimate. This is perhaps in an attempt to raise the otherwise shitty sales for the last gen consoles for a game that came out months ago, right? I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think that's a possibility, and that's only because how else are they going to sell that? I don't know if they're going to be able to sell MKX on PS3s. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe they're going to do something like Ultimate to kind of help push it as a new game for all consoles. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, if they make a brand new game and the price is too high, that's going to be pretty rough. But if they make a brand new game as an update, so like let's say they do Combat Pack 2 and Combat Pack 2 is $30 for the whole season, right? You get all of the characters, however many there are, right? Okay, that's kind of steep, but let's say that's the case, right? If they do Ultimate Mortal Kombat 10 and they charge full price like a new game, 4 thumbs down. 4 thumbs down, right? That's bullshit. But what if they do something like, it's a full price of a new game, but if you're currently an owner of Mortal Kombat 10, it's an update, just the same way they did with Street Fighter in the past, and the update itself will only cost blank, right? That is something that they could potentially do. I don't know how happy people will be if they do that, but I don't think it really matters. You know what? At this point, let's keep it real. Between you and me, Internet, it doesn't matter how unhappy you are. It doesn't matter how unhappy you are. It doesn't matter. Don't even bother being unhappy. They don't give a shit. I mean, let's face it. The internet online netcode sucks 10 dicks. The roster is weak. And it doesn't matter. The fucking PC version was trash. The last gen versions didn't even come out. There are more people pissed off about Mortal Kombat 10 than ever before, and it doesn't even matter because they're going to sell 1 billion copies anyway, and they're going to do exactly what they want to do anyway. So, I don't know. I don't bother getting mad at stuff like that. You know, it's like their decisions are just like, they've kind of always been questionable by most, but I at least admire them for sticking to their guns, you know? They're going to stick to their guns. It doesn't matter what you like. It doesn't matter what pisses you off. So, the netcode is not going to improve. I've heard things like the netcode is hardwire connected to the base code. So, they can never improve the netcode because the base code of the game is directly linked to the netcode. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? You know, what does that even mean? It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. So, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all that they're going to do a Combat, Pack 2 or whatever. I just really hope they take the opportunity and do something really memorable. Because, to me, Tanya, Trevor, and Jensen are... Tanya and Trevor for sure are totally forgettable. Jensen is pretty funny, but nobody uses him. And Lord Predator is great. I like the idea of Lord Predator. So I would like to see them use the opportunity to bring really cool characters to the scene. I think that would really sell it. If they used the opportunity of a Combat Pack 2 to bring some really, really cool characters to the game, we're talking. Now we're talking. So, I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about Combat Pack 2 or Ultimate Mortal Kombat 10 or what, but both of those things are a potential future for that game, and either of them are okay by me as long as they don't pull my pants down for the price, and as long as they don't have like ridiculously crappy character ideas like Lord Trevor. Who the fuck is Trevor, right? It's a weird character. I mean, I don't know. And Tanya? Ugh. Some could say that Lord Tanya is what killed MKX, if it's been killed. Though I'm a believer that it can't be killed. But some say Lord Tanya killed MKX. It could be the worst DLC character of all time if you think about it. She obliterated the game. Remember CEO? Tanya came out and CEO was nothing but Tanya's. And then next thing you know, Evo drops the game's place on the main event card down to fucking 11 a.m. And Marvel gets, the co-main event or whatever the fuck it's called. It's pretty wild. They have a lot of characters under their sleeve over there at NetherRealm Studios, and I'd like to see them, boom, let's use our level 3 super at this point. So, people are going to be really butthurt right now, and people are all talking about how MKX is dead. They could really revitalize MKX with the right choices. With the right choices, I think they could do it. I think they can make people care again, but I don't know. We'll see. So, that's that. Mortal Kombat. Street Fighter V's popping in the news, right? Because this weekend they're doing the EU stress test. Stress test. I don't know exactly what that means. It sounds to me like they're doing a beta test for the beta so that people don't get butthurt again. But, EU stress test is activated currently. And as far as I know, there are some people that are out there who are creating an EU PSN account. Even if you live in the US or Taiwan or Afghanistan or wherever the hell you live, you can get an EU PSN account, and I think you still can play the thing, the beta. Even though you pre-ordered it from the US, you still can play it, so I'm pretty sure people confirm that that's doable. In fact, there are some known, I forget who it was, someone did that and is streaming it. So whatever. If you're really amped up to play it, you could play it right now. I didn't want to jump through hoops because I had a podcast to do and shit, but I may not want to jump through hoops like that, but we'll see. either way, if you're really amped up to play it, I think, you should go for it. As far as that game goes, I'm pretty amped up. Last time I got to play it was a couple days ago when they did the stress test for the US, and the thing that really got my fucking ears pointing up and my tail wagging was someone said that Vega is playable, right? So that was a troll. Vega was not playable. Not only was Vega not playable, but Cammy and Birdie were taken away. However, the point is that when I heard that Vega was playable, I was really amped up because I'm really looking forward to that character. And another observation I made is, and I told Char this, every time I play Street Fighter V, when it's over and done and they kick me out of the server, and later on that day when I'm done streaming, I'm thinking about it, and every single time I feel like playing Street Fighter V. So whatever the game is doing, it's doing a decent job at making me want to play it, right? And not every game does that. Not every game has that kind of fun factor that's high enough to make you want to play it when you get it turned off. Maybe, I don't want to give the game, I don't want to suck the game's dick too hard just yet, right? Because you also have to factor in that they're deciding when I stop. I'm not deciding when I stop. So I'm playing and having fun, and they literally pull the fucking wool, whatever the saying is, rug out from under me or whatever. So if I get pulled out like that, of course I'm going to want to play it. And I like the idea from their end too, right? I mean, they're not giving the players enough. It's kind of like those horror movies where you don't see the scary guy. You kind of don't get to see him clearly, but that's the whole point. If you saw him clearly in broad daylight, wouldn't even be scary, right? So I think there's something going on there, like they're not telling you the schedule to make you still want to play. So I don't know. I mean, Street Fighter V looks pretty cool to me. I'm pretty amped up to play it. It's pretty fun, and right now, if you really, really want to play it, you can go ahead and get the EU version. It's available. What else? Street Fighter V, Street Fighter 4, the only thing I keep thinking about is, first of all, will Street Fighter 4 still be played after Street Fighter V comes out? I think it will. Personally, I think that game is different enough for there to be this divide when Street Fighter V comes out, where Street Fighter 4 09er purists are going to be like, boo, I like focus attack and invincibility on backdash and all this other shitty stuff, and the new guys will be like, all those things suck, you're weak, and we like Street Fighter V. So I think there will be a divide, and I think people will like Street Fighter V, at least enough for it to be around. Think about it. Marvel is still around. Marvel is still around, and it still was right before the main event at EVO. And Marvel is people have been talking shit about Marvel for so long, talking about how it's dead, right? Street Fighter 4 is 10 years old or whatever. It's so old now. It came out in 2008 on arcades. Vanilla Street Fighter 4 came out in 2008. At this point, it's the most popular fighting game ever. How do you think this giant steam roller coaster, whatever the fuck, is just going to stop? There's no way. I mean, everyone knows how to play this game, and there's going to be too much crossover for people to not play it, at least for a little while. Also, let's not forget, Internet, as optimistic as I like to be, Street Fighter V might suck. Street Fighter V might, right before it comes out, boom, in come the gems. Who knows what kooky idea they could come up with, or whatever. Whatever they do, the bottom line is we always have to face the reality that Street Fighter V might be terrible. And it might be rejected by the scene, and we could go back to Street Fighter 4 for another 10 years, for all we know. It's possible. It is not a, unreasonable scenario, right? It is not an unreasonable scenario, if you ask me. So, there are a lot of potential outcomes for Street Fighter V, and all I know is that I'm very interested in the future of it. It seems like, at the very least, it's worth the hype. Right now, there's a lot of hype behind that game, and it's kind of worth it. Everyone's looking at it. So, I don't know what else about that, but give me a second. Let me drink some of this. I'm thirsty. I'm parched. You guys speak amongst yourselves for a moment. Shh. So, what else? I don't know. Let's see. Killer Bitch Stink. it seems like, I haven't played it again, and I can now, and I will soon. It's just a matter of when I feel like it. But one thing that I'm noticing about the Killer Bitch Stink scene is that the online is so good that it doesn't even seem like it has an offline scene at all, outside of majors. I don't know how true that is. Excuse me, but I kind of tried looking out for tournaments, and I ended up catching one. It was an online tournament. The guy who won was this guy named Paul B, or Paul L, or L Paul, or some shit. And he used Hisako, and I was learning a lot. It was really cool, right? But, to me, it's kind of whack that it's an online-only thing. And that kind of reminds me of how Alex Valle recently, and everyone knows Alex Valle, Papa Grandpa Valle, he twittered that he thinks the future of fighting games is online. And that's kind of, I think, in reaction to NLBC, right? NLBC closing, he's kind of like saying, the future of fighting games is online, and, this is like what we have to plan for. And, people have been saying that type of thing for a while. Also, there's the idea of PC fighting games being the future. And the future, I say that with quotations because it's really only the future in terms of sponsors, right? Because you can't get sponsors unless it's Capcom or Namco or whatever. You can't get sponsors for consoles. It's hard, right? So these tournament organizers want the idea of PC, at least for the sponsors, in terms of that perspective. But, I don't love the idea. There's something about this whole online movement. The whole thing is just, it really stinks. It smells like shit, the whole thing, and I don't like the smell of it. I mean, Via does Wednesday Night Fights online, and there are a lot of online tournaments out there, and I don't think that they're a bad thing. They should exist, and I think that they should be a counter, like an opposite, or not opposite, but they should exist alongside offline events. And the idea that NLBC is closing, and there really aren't really that many other offline events that anyone gives a shit about. They're all too niche, right? I mean, you have like a Galloping Ghost Arcade does their MK tournaments, and then you got the whatever else. All these other different people do different shit. Don't get butthurt that I didn't mention you. But nothing is really as special as Wednesday Night Fights offline was, and as Next Level Battle Circuit is. These are kind of the two pillars. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but it kind of feels that way to me, and it's always felt that way to me. And losing Wednesday Night Fights offline really feels like we've been limping on one leg this whole time. But thankfully, Spooky's been doing it. And, the idea of losing that too really is kind of like, man, things have changed so much. If Grandpa Vaya is right, and the future is about online, I don't know if I love that. I don't think that the connection quality has advanced enough. We'll see, right? They're doing some pretty impressive stuff, at least with, what's it called? Rise of the Robots, Rising Thunder. Lots of people are saying good things about the netcode of that game, and it's kind of designed for that, so it's an online-only game that's really, really designed for that in terms of resources and shit, so I don't know. I don't know if the internet has advanced far enough for this to be acceptable for me, but right now I don't like it. I don't like the smell. And I'm guilty of it too, man. I'm guilty of it too. If you think about it, it's so easy to play online and just not give a shit. It's such a different thing too. You don't even care. When Tekken 7, by the way, this is totally a transition, but Tekken 7 is still, from what I know, at Round 1 arcades and Dave & Buster's arcades all over the US. And I know, I'll tell you this, that I played Tekken 7 here and there, whatever, at these events, but when it got to the arcade, and I went and played it at the arcade, it was like a different game. It was like I was actually having fun, playing a real Tekken game with a person that was there, and my inputs were, like, there was no questions about my inputs. There was no third, like, weird enemy that's the netcode that's really fucking you up. So, I don't know. It's just one of those things where you forget how big of a difference there is between online and offline. And if you can really clearly see the difference, when someone says it might be online, that's the future, I don't like the sound of that. Because I I don't hate online. I don't think it should be exterminated, but at the same time, it's like, you know, if that's the future, sounds like a bunch of fucking casual wall scroll munching Dark Souls PvPers, right? You might as well be PvPing in Dark Souls if there's no offline local play. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, that's a sore subject. Hopefully, Henry Sen pulls through with his next level battle circuit and all that shit. Good luck to those guys. What else? Other games. So we talked. Tekken 7. So the only thing going on in the Tekken 7 realm is Tekken Crash. And you know, the first week of Tekken Crash was with what the fuck is his name? Laugh. You guys know Laugh, the Street Fighter player. And you know, it wasn't good, right? But it was like tolerable. And then after that, they brought on the Woe Girl, and it just went fucking flushed down the toilet. I never thought that I would just rather hear Laugh speak as a Tekken commentator, right? But man, the Woe Girl is rough. Tekken Crash is producing some pretty interesting matches. The last one was a little whack because they had a controller malfunction, which iced the whole thing down forever. And they kept on oh my god. Laugh doing small talk with the Woe Girl was the worst. Laugh doing small talk with the Woe Girl. They both were hella nervous too. Like, they didn't know what to do. Laugh was panicking about what to talk about. The Woe Girl didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to say whoa about. It was a disaster. It was a catastrophe. So, I don't know. I don't know what's up with Tekken Crash, but, you know, the matches are really good. And if you want to have some audio, you know Nin is the man. Those guys get so fucking hype over there on the Korean side, it's out of control. They're yelling their asses off and shit. Laugh and the Woe Girl are getting wrecked. They're getting wrecked. They need to go. Laugh's a cool dude. I've met him before. I like the guy. Woe Girl, she's adorable. You know, but you gotta go. You gotta go. It's no good. It has nothing to do with them as people. It has to do with their skills as commentators. What else? That's Tekken 7. We talked about Mortal Kombat and Killer Bitch Stink and Street Fighter. You know what? I might as well say it here. Just in case. If they do this, I don't know if I'm happy about it, but I'm just saying it here, just so that it's recorded. Resident Evil 2, the remake, right? Resident Evil 2, the remake. I just thought of it. I hope it doesn't happen, but it's possible that they will make Claire's scenario classic style Resident Evil, and they'll make Leon's scenario an over-the-shoulder style shooter as a homage to Resident Evil 4. I mean, it's possible. I'm just saying. I hope it does not happen. If it were my preference, I would want it to be like a straight-up remake of the classic style with, you know, one-to-one in terms of the style of the game. But I don't know. It's just something that I hope it doesn't happen, but if it happens, I'll know. I knew it. It's like it was in the back of my mind that they would do something shitty like this. It's possible. Because, you know, these clowns keep making Revelations 1 and 2, and they already have that system in place. So, and you know how cheap these companies can be with reusing assets, right? So, it is possible that they will just do some kind of over-the-shoulder bullshit with Leon. I hope not. But, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Kind of a random thing that I just wanted to mention, but hope that doesn't happen. What else? Internet. What do you guys say? What's hype? I played that zombie game. I'm in the middle of deciding whether or not I like that game, but I'm gonna probably play it a little bit more tonight. I don't know yet. So far, I like it. So far, 4 hours in, I like it. But we'll see about that. We don't want to. Everyone keeps saying Sonic Fox versus PL. Can you guys explain to me what the fuck are you talking about? Are they gonna have a knife fight like in the music video for Beat It? They're gonna wrap their old forearms together and have some weird ass knife fight? North-south positioning? What's the problem? Just fill me in, chat room. Fill me in. I don't know anything about this shit. Is it just Perfect Legend getting butthurt or what? That's pretty much standard practice, right? First to 10 for 100 USD. Where at? That sounds pretty cool. $100 is kind of not a lot, right? I mean, both of them recently won a shitload of money, right? I think PL won at least $1,000, and the other guy won like $1 million. Sonic Fox. So I don't know, where are we gonna see this? Summer Jam. I'm glad you guys reminded me. Summer Jam is, what's today? Thursday? Not this weekend, but next weekend. So this is a pretty cool event. Everyone's been talking about Perfect Legend and Sonic Fox and all that stuff. Of course, Sonic Fox won Evo, and Perfect Legend, you know, he's been on Twitter and stuff. Anyway, so we'll see how that goes. I'm down. I'll watch. Summer Jam. A lot of people have asked if I'm going. I'm not going. I'm no plans to go whatsoever. It's way out there on the other side of Taiwan, and I'm, you know, for the time being, I'm staying home and streaming and doing the usual around here. But yeah, I mean, I'm down. Summer Jam. I'll watch it. I love majors and I love shit like that, so I'll check it out. And it's finally going to be like a, you know, man, my prediction. I think that a lot of people are going to think that Sonic Fox is going to kick the shit out of Perfect Legend. And it's going to be totally like a beatdown. But I have a little bit more faith in Perfect Legend than I think the average player. So, because, you know, to me, getting first place at Evo 2 years in a row is really fucking hard. It's really hard. Because 1 year, you know, it can happen. But once you win an Evo, there's such a target on your butthole. Every fucking person on the planet knows the matchup. Because you won Evo with the character. So, you know, I think that PL is a lot better than most people give him credit for. He's a weird motherfucker. You know, he's weird, right? I mean, why the fuck would you talk mad shit to Justin Wong in a fucking PM that you direct message to Justin Wong? It doesn't make sense, right? But as we said before, he's not sponsored for being a genius. He's a solid player, and I think people don't give him enough credit. So I personally would say that it's going to be a photo finish, or at least I'd like to think so. So yeah, Perfect Legend. I'd like to see that, you know, to fruition. We'll see what's up. So as I said, not this weekend, next weekend, Summer Jam. I think that same weekend, if I'm not mistaken, is, what the fuck is he calling it? Prelude. I keep thinking of which Honda it is. Is it the Civic? Is it the, you know, hatchback Civic SI? The Honda Prelude SoCal Regionals Prelude. You know, the name is so weird and new. That's happening the same weekend, I think. So it's going to be a 3-day event, which is Summer Jam, and then Prelude is a 1-day event, which is on maybe the 29th, which is Saturday, I think. You know, usually the other two schmucks are on the show to like confirm this shit, but I'm pretty sure that's what we're talking about. Anyway, oh yeah, right here, Malice in the chat room, the mod Malice, Godlike, he just put a link in for his FGC calendar. You should click that. It's got all the FGC events. I've checked it out before. Anyway. So yeah, Prelude, that's an offline event. I'm going to be there. I don't know if I'm going to commentate. I haven't talked to anyone about it, but I'm going to be there. So that's for sure. I forgot where it is, too. It's at a weird location. It's not at Irvine again like it was last time. I don't know where it is. What else? What am I forgetting, Internet? You guys got to jog my memory. You guys know I got the memory of a shark. Yeah. Excuse me. Did I forget any other games? Or events? I mean, the big news is the beta for EU Next Level Battle Circuit, kind of in a rocky situation right now. Anything about Super Arcade I haven't heard about. Super Arcade, last I heard he was like teaming up with all these weird game stores and shit, and I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. Hurry it up, Watson. You know I'm rooting for you, and you know everyone's waiting for it, so I'm looking forward to Super Arcade, especially now, you know. Now that right now, if Spooky is in like on thin ice over there at NLBC or at Next Level Arcade, it really makes me think like, dude, we're gonna have no events to watch. It's gonna be boring as fuck. So I hope that doesn't happen. We'll see. Anyway, definitely you're not going to want to miss it, though. This coming week, NLBC is going to have, like, so much information on the scene. The future of the fighting game scene is going to unfold next Wednesday at Next Level Battle Circuit. So, I would check it out if I were you. I'm going to check it out. So, anyway. What else? I don't know what else is going on. I don't think there's anything else going on that's really too big of a deal. Oh, NLBC also has a $500 pot bonus. What if this is some crazy conspiracy? Could be. You never know. I don't think it is, though. Because I text messaged Spooky, and I don't think I think if there was a conspiracy going on, I would know about it by now. Unless I'm in on it. I'm kidding. I'm not in on it. I'm just like, into conspiracies. They're kind of cool. But yeah, I don't think there is anything going on. I was supposed to go on a secret esports mission, but it got canceled. I'm not esports enough, as I said earlier. So we had to, basically it was just a matter of whether I would just not do a show today or, fuck it, why not, man? I like talking to the internet, and I like discussing the scene and supporting the scene. It's weird to me because, there's like 1,000 people watching right now, and I can't believe it, right? It's really shocking because at this point, James Chen and Ultra David, they run their weekly podcast. I think it's on Tuesdays, Ultra Chen. And, there's a couple others here and there, but it seems like the scene, it's kind of like, I don't want to say slowing down, but I don't know. I want to see more stuff out of everyone. I want to see more content. I want to see more, streams in general. The other day someone was mentioning like, hey Aris, you're like one of the biggest fighting game streamers, right? I mean, like, they all just stopped streaming. And I looked on the fighting game, there's like a group, right, on Twitch, and everyone that was like really, really big in streaming, they're all gone. They don't stream anymore. So, it's kind of like, obviously you move on and you do different shit and you have different hobbies and things take different priority and shit, but it's really nice to see the ones that do stick around. And Spooky works really hard, and so does Via works really hard too. I just don't like online events, that's all. Via works his fucking ass off. He's done so much for the fighting game scene, you don't even know. I talk a lot of shit about the weird massages he gives you when he hasn't seen you in a while, but he's done so much for the fighting game scene, it's absurd. It's out of control. So, you can't forget that. And people like Arturo and Spooky, as I said, and lots of others. Any of them. All of them. Bifuteki and these randoms that, like, you don't really know too well, but it's like they are behind the scenes. They're working really hard. Max, of course, he's so big, he's like a god. Max the god, there's so many guys out there that have done so much for the scene, and there's a lot of people that are just not around, so it's cool to see some of those people still around, and doing stuff. Some of them, like Seth Killian, moved on to make a whole fucking fighting game, which is such a cool idea. Rise of the Robots, Rising Thunder is really a great idea. Imagine if one day Markman or someone like Markman goes and makes a brand new game, and it's like Tekken. It's like a 3D game, and it's free to play. The ideas are so cool, and it sounds absurd now, but just watch. Things have changed so much in the last 5 years. 5 years from now, it's going to be crazy. People are going to be making their own games all day. That's the way it's going to be. So, anyway, I don't know. I'm rambling my ass off, but I think that's going to wrap it up today, Internet. There was a opportunity for me to just say fuck it, but I figured why not? I'll do a show, shoot the breeze with the internet a little bit, and we'll call it that. So I'll be back again next Thursday as usual for a bitch calling. Jesus Christ, I don't really know. There are people that randomly irritate me, but giving them a bitch calling would be like, why are you going to put the spotlight on this useless curly turd, right? So, nah. I guess I'll call Ricksta and Rip a bitch for not being on the show today. But whatever. You guys already knew that about them. Oh yeah, they usually plug all their shit around here. So you guys can follow me instead. No, I'm kidding. You guys should follow Rip. He's usually right below. It's Level Up Your Game. Twitch.tv/Level Up Your Game. Ricksta's Twitch is twitch.tv/RickSteezy with 3 E's. Also, my roommate Insomnotech, you should definitely check him out. He thinks Dark Souls 2 is the best Souls 2. I don't know how. I really shouldn't mention that when I'm telling you to follow his channel, because that's like, one test drive and you'll agree. But yeah, you should definitely follow him, Insomnotech, Beal, and everybody else. You know, you guys know the drill. These guys around here. Spooky, I definitely mentioned him. Max, Valle, which is Level Up Series or Level Up Live. I always forget that shit. Maximilian. You just throw all your favorite fighting game streamers links in the chat room. Okay, that's basically the moral of the story. Especially with Next Level Battle Circuit kind of being on thin ice right now, and you know, Watso, who knows what kind of buffalo wings he's eating right now. You know, it's kind of like, man, we really gotta watch this shit and support this shit, or it's gonna be all online. It's not going away. Fighting games are growing. No doubt about that. Fighting games are huge, right? But offline fighting games are in big trouble. They're in big trouble. So if you like offline fighting games, you know, support them. Anyway, Internet, that's going to wrap it up. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you guys later. Take it easy, everybody.